The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, and welcome to How to Maximize and Measure Your Facebook Campaign. This is Hilda Bustos. I'm Director of Communications for NALCAB. This is the second in a series of 4 complimentary webinars that we are hosting on behalf of the HUD Fair Housing Media Campaign. This webinar is intended to provide all of you with information tools on how to use Facebook, how to engage and expand your stakeholdership, and how to use a relatively free or cheap technology to reach communities in need. Our campaign is entitled Knowledge is Power, Saber es Poder, and we're providing these webinars to support and increase your capacity. Now, the webinar may not be the answer for all of you. Some of you are highly sophisticated in the use of Facebook. Please hang on and watch the entire webinar for us. We really would welcome your feedback. There's a post survey after the webinar, so we want to make sure that we include any more information on the next webinar series. I'm going to introduce to you, let me back up. NALCAB's mission is to build financial and real estate assets as well as human and technology resources for Latino families, communities, and organizations. We're a national nonprofit, and we were awarded a fair housing grant by HUD. It's no big news flash that communities of color are the ones who have the least knowledge of their fair housing rights. Our campaign is specifically targeting populations in Los Angeles, San Antonio, McAllen, Birmingham, Chicago, Brooklyn, Washington, D.C., and Denver. We also have collaborated with National Capacity to reach the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities, as well as NEVA, our member in San Francisco, who's got national reach through their broadband network systems. So we're very excited to have you all here. Some of you are not officially part of the campaign, but our secret mission here is to recruit you at the end of this webinar series to help us roll out a really compelling campaign. Now, to begin, I'd like to introduce our Fair Housing Project Coordinator, Laura Calderon. Laura has more than 15 years of communications and media relations experience. She's also an expert in research and public advocacy in nonprofits and public sector. So welcome, Laura. She'll be conducting this webinar. Enjoy.
Thank you, Hilda, and hello, everyone. Let's review today's agenda. In this webinar, we will look at how you determine your campaign goals and define your audience. We're going to look at ways to create compelling content so that you engage people who visit your Facebook page. And then we will take a look at how to use Facebook Insights to track your results. The first step in developing a campaign strategy is to determine your goals. In this case, what do you want from Facebook? Most of the time, people want to increase their likes, but your real goal should be to have an engaging relationship with your fans, and having great content does that. And we'll be looking at ways to do that. And engaging relationships are inherent in all of these possible goals. Increasing your organization's overall presence. Facebook can help here. More than 128 million users log into the website every day. That's more than 40% of all Americans. On mobile, that number drops slightly to 101 million, which is nearly 33%. But that still demonstrates how popular Facebook's mobile version is to users. The Pew Research Center regularly studies the use of social media by demographic groups, and while they haven't provided specific information on the use of Facebook by Latinos, they say it is consistent with their overall use of social media, which is to say that 80% of Latinos who use the internet use social media. So if you serve Latinos, Facebook is a must, and you should know that Latinos overwhelmingly access the internet via mobile phone technology. Build awareness of your organization and mission. Again, the number of Facebook users, regardless of ethnicity, gender, location, and income, says that Facebook can help you increase awareness of the work you're doing. Expand and create engaged stakeholders. This is an important goal because in the end, you want supporters and donors. Today, you can be assured that one of the first places a potential stakeholder will look for information about you is Facebook. Listen to clients' needs, interests, and feedback. Any nonprofit has to be in sync with their client in order to survive and thrive, and Facebook is definitely one way to do that. You want to know what people are saying about your organization. Social media allows everyone to be a citizen journalist. When someone has a good or bad experience, they can broadcast that experience now. So it's important that your organization is keeping up with what's said on Facebook and other social media. You want to drive action. Finally, you want people to be a part of your mission, whether it's to be a volunteer or participate in one of your programs. The messages that you post can help them understand what you do and how they can become involved. So determining what you want of the time and effort that you put into Facebook is going to help your organization, but you must first have that discussion and be clear on what you want to accomplish. In any type of media, marketing, or public relations plan, your number one focus is your audience. Knowing who they are, where they get their information, and what they do is key to developing the goal, messages, and the strategies of your campaign. For this fair housing campaign, our audience is fairly well defined. Typically, some research is done to figure out who the audience is. If you have the money, you hire someone to do market research for you, or barring that, you can hold a focus group with your clients, or perhaps you have your clients fill out a short survey when they attend an event. We're lucky in that we don't have a lot of research to do to figure out who our audience is. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 spells that out for us. As you can see here, there are 7 protected classes. The Act also includes sectors of the residential housing industry, like mortgage bankers, leasing and rental agents, and more, for being responsible that discrimination does not occur. So we know who the Fair Housing Campaign campaign will target, but let's spend a little time on how you would define your audience for any campaign. Your audience makes all the difference when you're creating content for social media like Facebook, or a brochure, a poster, or any other communication strategy. And knowing who they are is one of the best ways to ensure your campaign success. Start by brainstorming a picture of your target audience. Is it a single mother with children living in an inner-city rental apartment making less than $25,000 per year? Is it an elderly couple living on a fixed income, caring for grandchildren and experiencing financial difficulties? Or maybe an unemployed immigrant with limited English abilities seeking employment and affordable housing? Each of these is different, and their details can guide you in figuring out how to reach them. Each of the people I just described is dealing with a pressing issue. Whatever that issue is, it's your opportunity to address it in your campaign by crafting a message that hits home to them. Knowing where your target audience gets their information is critical. Do they read the local newspaper, or the church, or neighborhood newsletter? Is there a popular Spanish language newspaper or radio station that fits your target demographic? I mentioned earlier that Latinos are huge internet users, especially via mobile phone technology. Knowing that has implications for your communication strategies. When you want people to take advantage of your organization's services, they want to know, what's in it for me? How will this make life better for me? Will this address my pressing issue or need? So your campaign messages should focus on the benefits of your programs or services and less on the features or the mechanics of your program. As nonprofits, we serve communities that are underserved or on the fringes of society, that are vulnerable because they're in need. So they have a developed strong skepticism and an instinct to be wary. Some months ago, I was preparing a report for NALCAB on the NSP2 housing program, and I interviewed an affordable housing provider who was offering very nice, newly renovated affordable homes to low-income families. Their biggest challenge, she told me, was getting the neighborhood to believe that it was possible to buy or rent a nice home with good financial terms. In the past, this community had been taken advantage of by unscrupulous landlords and lenders. The good news was that the organization had been working in the community for a long time, and they knew the history of their audience. So they were able to address the skepticism in their outreach because they knew the past history. Last point, who does your audience trust? Like in my previous example, community-based nonprofits have an advantage, but most of the time you can't do it alone. So partnering with trusted groups or individuals is important to your campaign success. In some communities, it's the church or a respected community leader. Having them on your side strengthens the position you already hold in your community. Now let's get into Facebook. At the beginning of this year, the Huffington Post ran an article by Mark Chardon, peering into the nonprofit crystal ball, where he identified key trends for nonprofits in 2013. One of the trends was that in 2013, technology in the nonprofit world would reach the tipping point, meaning that this would be the year that nonprofits would make the leap and adopt mobile technologies into their social media strategies. They would be optimizing their websites for mobile phone use or creating and using mobile apps. He said that today it's simply not possible to deliver the best possible experience and as a result attract and retain donors without the comprehensive reach that social media gives. In July, NALCAB did a social media audit of all its members to find out if they were using Facebook and Twitter. And here's what we found. 81% aren't using Facebook and 49% are using Twitter. But we also found that 17% are not using Facebook or Twitter at all. And one of the things you should know is that this provides a great baseline for us. After these webinars, we'd like to go back and do another audit and see if there have been any changes out there in the community that we serve. So I'm going to do a quick review for some Facebook basics here. All right, first of all, if you're an organization, you want a page and not a profile, and Facebook gives you that choice, so you need to definitely pick page if you're an organization. Now, within some limits, Facebook gives you a lot of leeway in making that page yours. You can add your logo, a cover photo, and a bio of your organization. You can add photos and post stories when you want. If you aren't a Facebook user, getting started is a little intimidating because a profile page has a lot going on all at once. So here's some basic points to understanding Facebook. First, your network is key. You grow your network by liking other people's pages and hope that they like yours in return. This is important because you may post information on fair housing, then your Facebook friend can like your post and perhaps act on it. This is reflected on their Facebook page, and that starts the flipping of information onto their friends. You can also like others' pages that reflect similar interests as yours. When users make a comment, you can engage them by responding and letting them know that their post is important to you. One of the keys to social media, especially Facebook, is that it's visual. So posting photos is another way of engaging a visitor to your page, and it's a great way to show that you do what you do by posting pictures of volunteers or staff in action. Here's the top of NALCAB's Facebook page. In case you haven't been onto Facebook, you can see that their logo is displayed prominently. They have a great array of photographs as their cover photos, and down here they have a description of their organization. And further down NALCAB's page, you can see this is their timeline. And the timeline is the heart of a Facebook user's page. This is what people look at when they go to your page, so it's important to focus your efforts on the timeline. It's hard to see here, but NALCAB posts regularly. You will want to post with some frequency because people who are on social media have a desire for information and they want to know what's going on. I wanted to point out that Facebook has created a guide called Building Your Presence with Facebook Pages, a guide for causes and nonprofits. The guide is about 13 pages long, so there is much more than what I've covered. It's not as detailed as you might like, but I wanted you to be aware of what the source, Facebook, has to say to nonprofits. And I've included a link on the resources page of this presentation. So that's my review of the Facebook basics. If your organization is one of the 17% that does not have a page, first try experimenting with a personal profile for yourself. It really is hard to make a mistake, and there are many, many resources on the internet to help get you started. Okay, now we'll go more in depth on how to create quality content on Facebook. I'm going to start by talking about some recent changes that Facebook has made that have implications for nonprofits. On August the 23rd, oops, let's see here, hold on, I move my slide here. Thank you. All right, on August the 23rd, Facebook announced a new way of handling the news feed. The news feed is the center column of your home page, which is a constantly updating list of stories from people and pages that you follow on Facebook. Newsfeed stories include status updates, photos, videos, and links. Facebook changed the algorithm or the formula that it uses to decide what shows up in your newsfeed. Facebook's goal with newsfeed is to show you content that is most relevant to you. So the new algorithm will filter in stories and posts the social network thinks you'll care most about. The newsfeed algorithm responds to signals from you, including, for example, how often you interact with the friend or page who posted, the number of likes, shares, and comments a post receives from the world at large and from your friends in particular, and how much you've interacted with this type of post in the past, whether or not you and other people across Facebook are hiding or reporting a given post, reporting as spam a given post. Okay, there are two significant changes coming from this for your organization to recognize. The last 50 matter. Basically what that means is that the last 50 people you interact with on Facebook are the people that you'll see posts from in your newsfeed more often. If you want to get your posts into newsfeed, this means you must make your content compelling and clickable. Now more than ever, increasing interaction with your nonprofit's page is vital. The more people you can get to actively participate with your posts, meaning liking, commenting, sharing, or even just looking through pictures, the more likely they'll be to see your posts in the future in their newsfeed. Simple tactics like adding in visual content or interactive components are more likely to get people to click. As a rule of thumb, if you wouldn't be engaged, don't publish it. Second point, your most popular post will prevail. If you're now worried that not enough people are interacting and your post won't be seen, your best posts still stand a chance, even if you weren't on a user's last 50 list. Posts with high interaction, again meaning like, sharing, in other words, clickable content, have the opportunity to be seen by many people. The bottom line here is that Facebook is going to continue to refine its algorithms, and there really is no trick to getting ahead in Facebook's newsfeed except for truly engaging content that serves your community. Now let's look at some ways to address this new algorithm. These bullet points rely on you looking at your measurement data in Facebook Page Insights and then adjusting your content so that you can then use the new algorithm to your advantage. We'll explore Page Insights later and then take another look at this slide after we cover metrics. First, you want to audit your Facebook content. Using Page Insights helps you find out what content did well. Did these posts have something in common? Once you know what the commonalities were, use that information to help develop your content. Know the best time to post your content. Once you know what your top posts are, look to see if there are any trends in terms of time and day that emerge. Look at these posts, or look at those posts that receive the lowest rating and see if that tells you something as well. Look carefully at the weekends when most people have time to be on Facebook. Also consider using the scheduler feature on Facebook to automatically post on weekends or just to make it convenient. Try to figure out what might be causing users to hide or unlike your post if that's happening to you. Are you posting too frequently? Is it a certain type of post? Facebook Analytics will help you figure that out. Post more images and videos. A picture is worth 1,000 words, so it's all about the visuals. And you'll hear me repeat that periodically throughout this presentation. Balance your content. Vary what you post. Include inspiring quotes of the day related to your mission or quotes from supporters, profiles of the people you serve, of volunteers or staff, Q&A, items for sale that help your cause. On Facebook, you can pin important posts to the top of your page. If you have a particular post that you want to ensure everybody sees, simply pin it to the top. You can also use Facebook's highlight feature. People will see this whenever they visit your page, and I'm going to talk more about all of this later. Now let's look at another recent Facebook change. In July, Facebook rolled out Graph Search. It is basically an enhanced search engine, and it's part of Facebook's usual search feature. It allows you to search for several elements all at the same time. It helps you find people and places that are connected on Facebook. But I have to warn you that if you are already on Facebook, you may or may not have ability to search in this way. Facebook is rolling it out right now. And here's some examples of some searches. Friends of my friends that belong to the Public Relations Society. I tried this last night and it worked for me, so apparently I do have Graph Search. Restaurants that my friends visited in London. Now, I would have to have friends who have liked restaurants in London in order to get results. People in my company who like running. People at NALCAB would have had to have liked running in some way, shape, or form on Facebook. Pictures of my friends from before 1995. Here, my friends would have had to post and tag photos as being taken prior to 1995, like a graduation photo or a baby picture. Graph Search lets you search for several search terms at once to get very specific results. It relies on a huge amount of Facebook data that's generated when individuals and organizations are connected through friends, fans, likes, and when they share. These ties include age, gender, marital status, hobbies, genealogy, location, ideas, financial transactions, political affiliations, club memberships, occupation, education, and economic status. Right now, information in posts are not part of Graph Search, but Facebook says that it will eventually include posts. So why is it important for a nonprofit to know about Graph Search, especially if it's not available to everyone yet? Well, nonprofits can use Graph Search in several ways. First, you can conduct research on your supporters to get more information. Let's say you're thinking of having a volunteer event to plant a community garden. Your search could be fans who like gardening and volunteering, or friends of fans who like gardening and volunteering, or fans at Smith Gardens and Nursery Company who volunteer. Also, it has been suggested that Graph Search can work like a mini focus group to learn more about your supporters. Find out what the people who like your organization also like. This will help you make deeper connections and create more engaging content. For example, you may be an affordable housing agency, but you may discover that you have many fans that are art lovers. This might lead you to explore a contest or a fundraiser that highlights photos on homelessness or the significance of having a safe and affordable home. It can increase exposure to your nonprofit. Graph Search operates in such a way that it makes your page easier to find because a wider net is cast when the search feature is used. What's important here is that you check your keywords in your About section on Facebook, plus the categories that you've chosen for your page. Make sure that all of your information is accurate, up to date, spelled correctly, and that your keywords are what most people would use when searching for your nonprofit. It's important for you to like other pages because those connections can lead to more likes for you. Graph Search can help you find other pages that are relevant to your organization that you can like. When you search for fans who like volunteering, you will see other things your fans like, so you might discover other pages to like as well. Older content can be found again. This is especially important for photos. Visual images are a huge part of social media. People like photos and they create engagement. This may involve some work for your organization in that photos have to be captioned and tagged with locations. This increases the chances of your photos coming up in a search. If that task is too big, begin today with any new photos that you add to your page. This feature is especially good for volunteers who have photographed. Showcase your events. Facebook has said that events will play an important place in graph search. So here you want to make sure that you have good headlines, location, descriptive key information, and details. So that's it for graph search. Try a search and see if it is already part of your search feature. And be on the lookout because Facebook says it will be expanding it to include updates, mobile apps, and other social media like Instagram. All right, so all of these new Facebook features make it imperative for your organization to create compelling and clickable content. And here are some ways to do that. Asking questions. Have you noticed that when you're on the internet reading an article, it almost always ends with a question? That's because asking a question has proven to be a great way to spark interaction. In other words, engagement. Now, let me just say at this point, for our Fair Housing campaign partners, HUD has told us that asking questions can constitute a survey and there are legal implications that kick in. So the campaign itself will not be using this strategy. But outside of that, asking questions are key. On the resources slide that we'll look at later, there's a link that outlines 16 ways to ask questions. And here we see photos again. You can post a great visual and engage users to provide a caption. It sounds simple, but all of these strategies have been tried and have yielded results. Another way of using photos is to highlight a volunteer. It's a small reward for them, and they are likely to like it and share it with their friends who in turn will like it and share and so on. Take the opportunity to inform users about interesting facts related to your organization. Let's look at some more suggestions. You know what questions pop up about your organization and its work. Beat them to the punch and begin to inform users with messages that help them and you. Another type of photo opportunity is to share a picture of your work environment, explaining what's going on. This promotes your mission and helps a user understand what you do. As a nonprofit, you have many partners that you work with. Visit their pages and look for interesting posts and share them. They will appreciate that and they are likely to interact with your page. Finally, hashtags. They aren't just for Twitter anymore. Hashtags are now used on Facebook. Like Instagram and Twitter, hashtags on Facebook allow you to add context to a post or indicate that it's part of a larger discussion. When you click on a hashtag in Facebook, you'll see a feed of what other people and pages are saying about that event or that topic. You can also use hashtags in Facebook search function. I've included an article on the resources slide where you can learn more about tags. Now let's look at some best practices for content. All right, keep it short. Research says that long posts won't be read, and I have to tell you that as I researched best practices for content, I found a variance in what was being suggested. Some people say no more than 80 words, others say no more than 200. I think the bottom line here is keep it short, keep it brief. Know the best times of the day to post content, and we'll get specific in a moment when we talk about metrics and page insights. Schedule your post. You can schedule a post to appear in the future. This is good if you want a post to appear on the weekend when many users are on Facebook, and the resource slide includes information on how to schedule. Personalizing a post is helpful in many ways. If you have sponsorships for an event, post a picture of volunteers in front of your sponsor's banner. They will like that. You can also personalize a post by thanking a sponsor or a donor by name. Likewise, posting in Spanish personalizes the message for Spanish speakers. So it's not just about using names, but also recognizing key characteristics of your community. All right, you can also, as I mentioned earlier, pin to the top and star or highlight your best content. You've already heard that. Both of these Facebook features are great ways to get attention for your best content. Pinning ensures that your most important content each week is seen by new visitors to your page. When you pin, the post stays at the top of the page's timeline for 7 days. Highlighting or starring a post stretches it across both columns of your page's timeline, basically taking up the space of 2 regular posts. Think about this for positive comments from fans, organizational milestones, great photos or testimonials about the work your organization or volunteer does. How to pin and highlight information is included in our resources slide. Use research to help determine your content, and we're going to be talking more about that when we get to page insights. Post several times a day if possible, or at least regularly and with some frequency. Page insights will help you figure out what works best for your organization. Tag posts. A tag is a special kind of link. When you tag someone, you create a link to their timeline. The post you tag the person in may also be added to that person's timeline. For example, you can tag a photo to show who's in the photo, or post a status update to say who you're with. If you tag a friend in your status update, anyone who sees that update can click on your friend's name and go to their timeline. Your status update may also show up on that friend's timeline. When you tag another NALCAB member organization, it increases exposure for both your organization and theirs. On the resources slide at the end of this presentation, I've included a link on how to tag. Now, one more time, let's think about visual content because it's that important. When you're thinking about visuals, think of the entire visual experience of your page. Include images with nearly every update. Avoid cluttering your page and think about how one visual might relate to another. At the same time, try to include images as often as possible. Some of the most successful nonprofit Facebook pages in terms of engagement post visuals with almost every single update. When we talk visuals, it's not just about photos. It can be a video or an inspiring quote. Get help from your volunteers to take and post great photos that show your mission in action. And again, tag your photos just like your posts. I mentioned this a couple of slides ago, and it applies to photos as well. Okay, we're moving into Facebook Insights. All right, getting to the heavy part here, numbers, metrics, charts, and graphs. If you're like me, this type of stuff breaks you out in a cold sweat. I was never good at math or at creating Excel charts, but here's the great news. Facebook has taken a huge load off of everyone. You have to be able to click on links, and then the hardest part is reading the graphs that they produce for you. And they're actually fairly easy to read. So after that, your task is to figure out how page insights can inform what you do on Facebook. First, before we really get started into Facebook Insights, I'd like to know a little bit about your page insights experience. So we're going to take a poll. When it comes to Facebook page insights, I have no insight at all. I use it but don't really know how it can help us, or I use it to guide our Facebook efforts. Please respond, and David Garcia, our webinar moderator, will receive your responses, and then we'll share all of that. In the meantime, I want to remind you about our upcoming webinars that are part of the social media series. All right, well, you can't see the slide yet, but you will.
So it looks like it's about 40% for the first group and 30% for the other 2 groups.
Okay. So everybody's done their poll? All right. Okay, well, the results are that 40% say they have no insight at all. So this is a great thing that we're doing this webinar today. Another 30% say that they use it but don't really know how it can help us. And then another 30% say that it guides their Facebook efforts. So I think those are some pretty interesting numbers, but we do need to bring along that 40%. All right, so David, can you see my slide now? All right. So what you see is a listing of the upcoming webinars in this series. On the 19th of September, we're doing Twitter, and on October the 3rd, we are talking about optimizing your website and being smartphone friendly. All right, I'm going to take a quick moment to show the progress report form that the Fair Housing Campaign is using. So Fair Housing Partners, you're already familiar with the Fair Housing Progress Report form that will track the monthly status of your overall campaign. There's a specific section devoted exclusively to tracking your social media activity on Facebook and Twitter. And here we're looking at the Facebook part of the report. The remainder of the form, not shown here, asks you to track all of your organization's Facebook posts that clearly communicate the fair housing rights to the Facebook community. You will also attach copies of Facebook posts and provide the total number of Facebook fans. And just as a reminder, they're due to me on the 15th of the month. And now we really are getting into page insights. Okay. All right, what we have here is the Facebook's admin panel, and the reason I'm showing this to you is because I want you to be able to see where you go to view your insights. And you can see the upper right-hand corner, it says View Insights, and to get there, all you do is click on it. All right, you clicked on it, and now you're in the Overview tab. What you have basically in Page Insights is 4 major tabs of information: Overview, Page, Posts, and People. All of these 4 make up Page Insights. Below that, it tells you that you're looking at data for the last 7 days for page likes, post reach, and engagement. And obviously you can see they're circled here in yellow. These 3 graphs are summaries of what you find broken out in detail in each of these tabs up here. So page likes is really broken out into various graphs when you click on this top tab. Same thing for posts and people. Let's start with page likes. The page likes graph shows you how many total page likes you have, if you've gained or lost likes over the week, and how many new page likes you've gained this week versus last week. If you click on the right-facing arrow here, or on the graph itself, there's more information, such as net likes. In other words, what changed? And you also find information on where your likes come from. Mobile, going directly to your page, or because Facebook suggested they might like your page. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. Now let's take a look at post reach and what all of that entails. This second chart displayed includes your post reach analytics, and it shows how many people you reached in the last week and how this compares to the week before. You drill down on the post reach by clicking on the chart or arrow, just like we did in page likes. And when you drill down, you will find charts on the number of people who saw your post, the number of likes, shares, and comments received. And remember, these help you reach more people. It also includes hides, reported spam, and unlikes. You'll recall that the hides and so on are part of Facebook's new algorithm, which helps determine what comes out in your fans' newsfeed. So if you want to see what content is not working for you, the Post Reach tab is where you find that data. And then, finally, we have engagement, which measures likes, comments, shares, and clicks on your page posts. This is one of the most important summaries because it lets you know how people are interacting with your page. All right, we're actually still on the overview page, but now we're at the very bottom of the overview page. The lower half begins with the 5 most recent posts, and it sits below the graphs that we were just looking at. And when you look even further down below to see all posts, what you can do is click here in order to get information for the best time to post and the best post types data. So my screen is not really interactive, but let's pretend that we have clicked on that. And so what this does is this automatically, let's see here. What this does is it automatically takes you into the top tab of posts. All right, and as I had mentioned to you earlier, Post tab is one of those 4 main tabs up at the very top. So I just want to keep you oriented to where we are. Here you see two tabs, when your friends are online and best post types. The graph displayed shows when the people who like your page are on Facebook, and knowing this helps you to post at the best time when it will be seen and interacted with. If you hover over the points below the graph, it will show what time of day your community is logged into Facebook, and you can plan to post around that time. And don't be concerned about remembering where all of this is located, because I provided a slide for that. Okay, the best post types chart is extremely helpful because it shows you the success of different post types based on average reach, basically the number of people who saw it, and engagement. And again, this means post clicks, likes, comments, and shares. And you have that per post type, whether it was a photo, a status, a link, or video. So here in this particular chart that we're looking at, we can see that more people, in terms of average reach, more people look at the photograph. In terms of engagement, again, it was the photograph that really won this race here. The message here is study what's engaging to you, to your fans, and do more of that. Now we've covered some of the most important data under the Post tab. So now let's look at the Page tab by going back to the Overview page. All right, we were just in Post, and now we're going to be in the Page tab. And so here we are. Let's see. No, well, not quite, actually. Let me change my slide here. I just wanted to give you an orientation as to where Page is. All right, here we go. Now we're inside the Page tab. And this is broken down into 3 sections: Page likes, post reach, and page visits. Page likes reflect growth over time, which is what you see here, this very first chart up on top. And you can look at the calendars here to the right, and you can click on these calendars to pick the time frame that you want to review. Now, I'm not going to review every section of this tab, but the second one is likes, broken down into unlikes, which is when people decide not to like you anymore, organic likes, which is when people click on a post on your page that they like, and then paid likes, which is when Facebook, when ads, or rather when a like comes to a Facebook ad that you paid for, and then net like, in other words, the number of likes you have after counting for new likes and any unlikes you may have gotten. So I understand that that's a lot of likes, but at your leisure, you can go in there and take a look at what that really means, and I think that you'll see that it's a fairly easy chart to read. The third section of the Page tab is where your likes come from. Is it from your page, page suggestions, mobile, your posts, and others? And now we'll take a look at that particular chart. All right. This reflects the number of likes that you received broken down by where they originated. Did you get liked while users were on your page, which will be the top, at the top beneath your cover photo? Was this suggested to users by Facebook? Did it come through a mobile device or from posts? Or did it come from some other source? Maybe you have a like button on your blog. It's good to be able to see which days are the most popular down at the bottom, because then you can see which post was most popular that day, who sent you the most traffic, and what you were writing on the fan page, and use all of that information to create content that will provide you with more fans. If most came from posts, then you have some indication that you have some really good content. This information can help you in various ways. If most of your likes are coming from mobile devices, that might be an indication that you should start thinking about making sure your website is optimized for mobile viewing. I realize that from this screen it's a little hard to distinguish the different shades, but when you're on Facebook, the colors will be more obvious and easier to read. Now we've covered the Page and Post tabs that were at the top of the Overview page, and now we're going to move on to the People tab. All right, here we are in the People tab with this slide, looking at the first chart. But first, let me just say that the People tab gives you a picture of who's visiting your page. It breaks out your page's fan base by age and gender, and explains how well your posts are getting into their news feeds. And that's because this is where we look at engagement. The People tab shows fan breakdown, people reached, and we're not going to review the graph under people reached. This is basically the number of visitors to your page. And then there's people engaged. Here are two graphs under the People tab. Age and gender, and then the portion down here showing geography and language. Now looking at age and gender, this is the percent of people who saw any content about your page for each age and gender bracket as of the last day of your selected date range. This is based on the data people enter in their personal timelines, and it compares anyone who saw your post with people who are your fans. Now under geography and language, look at this middle column here, city. Here you can get an idea of what cities your users come from and the total number from that city based on a person's IP address. What you don't see here is the bottom of the graph where it says see more. When you click there, you will see much more location data than what's shown on the screen right now. Now we'll look at people engaged, still under the People tab. This slide gives you the opportunity to see how your fans are similar and different from people who see and engage with your post. This is considered the most important metric because basically it measures people who have clicked anywhere on your post. Out of the people you were able to reach, these are the ones who took action with your content. If you can't continue to engage users, they won't continue to see your content. Those people who are engaging with your posts are your most valuable audience segment, since they're the ones consuming and sharing your content on the network. In the previous slide, you saw location data. Under the People Engaged section, you'll also find location information for engaged users. I'm not showing that graph, but do know that it is available. I said we would return to this slide, and I hope that you can look at it now from a slightly different perspective. I mentioned that these bullet points rely on you looking at your measurement data and then adjusting your content so that you can use the new algorithm to your advantage. So now you can use Page Insights to find out what content did well. Did these posts have something in common? Once you know what the commonalities are, use that information to help develop your content. Now you have an idea of where to find the best time to post your content. Recall that when you know what your top posts are, look to see if there are any trends in terms of time and day that emerge. Check out those with the lowest rating and see if that tells you something as well. Try to figure out what might be causing partners to hide or unlike your posts. Are you posting too frequently? Is it a certain type of post? And now you can find out which images and visuals receive the most attention by looking at your Best Post tabs. Again, your Best Post tabs can help you balance your content. It can't tell you directly if a post was pinned or not. You can always get the date for your best posts and see if pinning or highlighting was working for you there. Okay. I pulled together, I mentioned a lot of metrics, and so I pulled together here a little guide to help you find them when you go into Page Insights. There you have sorts of page likes and page tab, best time to post, and post tab, best post types, and so on. So please take a look at that and use it to help you find the resources that you need. And finally, let's review the resources very quickly because we've got quite a few of them here. These are the general guides on this page or this particular slide that help you with Facebook and social media. I mentioned Facebook's own guide for nonprofits, and here it is listed first. And do check out Social Bright and Nonprofit Facebook Guide. The information is great, it's easy to understand, and it's very practical and useful. All right, these links give you pretty specific information on how to schedule your posts, on tagging, and how to ask questions in 16 ways that you never even knew existed. Remember, questions are all about engagement. All right, we have talked about pinning a post, and so here's your link. It's easy. You just have to read it once and you will be ready to pin. Same thing with starring and highlighting a post. You've got your instructions here. All right, using hashtags. Here you have the how-to for hashtagging on Facebook, and finally a little more information on graph search. I'm Laura Calderon, and I hope that NALCAB has helped support you in your use of Facebook and for the good work you do in the communities you serve. I encourage you to apply the suggestions we've made today. It is a process of trial and error, but that's how you will learn what works and what doesn't work for you and your organization. Thank you so much. Any questions? Okay, questions are coming in. Wow, I'm not sure. This question is, what do you recommend to deal with posting in 2 languages? That's a very good question, and I'm not sure how to answer that. You post twice and you translate. I be real honest with you, I don't know the technology behind doing all of that. But I guess a double post on Facebook, one in English and one in Spanish. That's a very good question. Thank you. Okay, the links went very fast. Is there a place we can have those? Yes, absolutely. The one thing I failed to mention is that we're going to be posting the presentation on a resource page that I think is in development now, Hilda, or it's just about ready to go. Can you address that for us?
Yes, we're providing a fair housing resource landing page for everyone who wishes to participate in the campaign. Currently, if you go to nalcab.org, press on the tab Membership, and look for Links and Resources, you'll find on the left-hand side Fair Housing Resources. Click on that, and it'll take you to our page. There you'll find downloadable materials as they come in. We are obviously in process, so not everything will be available, so I would ask that you check in with us on a periodic basis. The password, it is password protected. If you'd like to peruse the landing page, please enter Fair Housing, no space, lower caps.
And let me add some information that came in from one of our folks out in the audience, Emily Polanco. She made a very good point, and I appreciate her adding this to the conversation. This is regarding the posting in 2 languages. Emily reminds us that you can actually filter your posts for English and Spanish language audiences. Thank you, Emily. Let's see here. All right, someone is asking or telling us that this was very helpful. Thank you so much for that. And they want to know how to sign up for the Twitter and website seminars that were advertised. Yes, an opportunity will come through your inbox. If you probably received something in your email regarding this webinar, and so the same thing will happen each time that we host the upcoming 2 seminars. So you will be receiving something via email. Let's see. Bear with me here. Questions are coming in. Going back to the question regarding posting in double languages, Nina Ball tells us that Google Translate could probably help with the double posting as well. That is a possibility, but I do have to tell you that in a previous lifetime before NALCAB, I worked with a large public organization that did that, and there were some issues. Google translations don't always come up with the correct translation, but You know, I have used it to kind of help me get through a document that I'm trying to translate, but be extremely careful when you use Google Translate. Thank you, Nina. Any more questions? All right. All right. Let's see here. Just to let you know, here is my email address, and if you have any questions, you can address me privately. I also wanted to just let you know that last time when we did our first webinar, I did send out a PDF to all participants, a PDF of today's webinar. So not only is it posted, but I can do that as well. Just give me a few days to get that via email to you. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that this was helpful to you, and we hope that you join us in our upcoming webinars. Thank you and have a great day.